It's a fact you're not here. You ain't even real, but you still bring me fear. You make my bones so tired that my soul stands up. But now I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. It's like I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. Oh.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome to the Working Wing Podcast, a podcast where every week we're reviewing some media and talking about the news, potentially with an argument here or there. And this week we're returning to our roots of talking about the West Wing. My name is Killian Collins, and joining me, as always, my longtime debate partner, one of my best friends, and a man who makes Mikhail Buchanan look like Pol Pot, my friend Timothy Schultz, is joining us today. How are you, my friend?
I am excellent here on this Friday morning.
Yeah, as always, us third shifties right now doing what we can outside the schedule.
Yeah.
Trying to talk to the folks in the morning. But yeah, as I was saying in the podcast, or in the intro there, we are kind of returning back to our original Working Wing podcast roots of talking about the West Wing.
Yeah, we're picking up where we left off many months ago with the first two episodes of season 2, or as I have them subtitled in my notes, Eat, Pray, Establishment Politics. As we see all of these talented young people find themselves through neoliberal politics.
Yeah, it is. Well, and it's funny because I was going to talk about like kind of how it kind of showed itself at the end. But when I was this is a very fresh watch for me. Like just wrote down these notes as while I was watching it, and yeah, I really kind of it really kind of makes me think about just kind of what the Clinton campaign really thinks that they are.
Yeah,
of like picking these people off the street. Like you're gonna be there's a part where like Josh is asking CJ, he's off in LA and asking CJ like, oh yeah, to come work for us, and she's like, making all this money from like this from this PR firm, but it's like, and if she's getting fired, and he's like, how much will I be making? $600, and it's like $600 a week, and it's like
right, yeah. Both CJ and Sam, their backstories are. We'll get into it, but they are the opposite of how it actually works. People do not go from well-paying jobs into establishment politics.
No.
They go from establishment politics into well-paying jobs.
Yes,
that's how the system works.
Yes. They start out as a Donna or a Josh, and get to and like leave out like any of these characters like are out in a year. But also we'll get to that with the campaign trail too, because I was also wondering like, why is your White House staff like the people on your campaign trail? Like that also is like
that's not. I mean, it in some cases that is kind of like people.
I can
from
see
the
a person
trail
or two
do get jobs in the administration,
right?
But
Yeah. But it's like it's not your fucking presidential cabinet. It's like people who will run you like through a campaign is a different staff than your White House staff. Like you will. I'd be surprised if like someone who is on your campaign staff would be like your White House briefer, unless they have experience doing that before. But if it's like they're like some PR person, like
one case where it actually did happen though was between the Clinton and the Obama administration.
Oh,
where all these Clinton staffers left, became bank executives, and then 10 years after they left the White House, started running Barack Obama, where his chief signature legislation was saving the banking industry that they all were vice presidents in.
Don't worry,
a lot of them did take posts early on in his White House,
so they can come back. So then come back out and make a bit more money again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I mean.
But yeah, like the White House is a pit stop for these people.
Really kind of like the Republicans too, which is just like the funny, which is like the hilarious part about all of this is it's just
they're mirror images. They really are.
It's. We'll get into it this episode. We'll get into it in the second part of this episode. There's a lot of moments I'm thinking of, but I think we should just jump right into it. And honestly, current events. They're going to be coming around. There's been slow things. We were just talking about like Cornel West jumping to the Green Party nomination, which is also kind of a bit of a and for me, like it's like I'm also like I'm not thinking they're gonna exactly. I don't think that either one's gonna make the other one excel exactly. Like it's just the unfortunate truth. It's like I like Cornel West. I don't think even like among these candidates he'd be like the candidate, but and I don't think that like his ideas are like, oh, I'm gonna go among working class people, which is a great idea, but he's gonna do it among like the Green Party and the People's Party, which like the Green Party has already kind of had like they're kind of just like Democratic and leftist dissidents who are just fed up with just fed up with voting Democrat. So like they use so that's kind of like that crowd. And it's like, well, you're going to use that kind of platform and that base to like appeal to like working class, like middle America. Like I think you're going to have to do a lot of underbranding of like overbranding of the Green Party that doesn't really want to change. And it's not going to change for you.
Right. Well, it's just like, the Green Party, the People Party, if they want to like gain traction, they should be pursuing other elections other than like the national election.
I agree. I think it's like, I think what they're kind of doing is they're just hoping like to use a big name to like help bring them into it. I mean, like, but then we got into like Ross Perot, where it's like, well, that's an example where like this person had the capital to put up into it, which is unfortunate because like, I'm thinking like, well, that the best shot of that happening is like Bezos making his own party or Elon Musk making his own party.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
actually Elon Musk can't be president.
It wouldn't be him. It wouldn't be him making. It wouldn't be him being president. It would be him putting up the money. Which is pretty much just buying the president, and that's.
I mean, that should already happen.
Yeah,
like
it is. I mean, yeah, it's for sale, like pretty much. So. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's still kind of like the holding your breath part of politics. Like, I mean,
right.
So, I mean, I know we're going to get some peppers. We're going to pick.
Yeah. Well, we'll pick this up, I think, when we talk about Leo towards the end of this episode.
For sure. As always, we kind of originally wanted to do West Wing as a way to get us to talk about politics without organically do. Because when we organically talk about politics, we end up screaming like, you're an entitled bitch, or you don't know anything, or like you're a fucking puppet.
We end up waking up my neighbors at 3 a.m.
Right.
With, kind of our unstructured political feel.
Yes.
Or we end up walking around our friend's LA neighborhood
barefoot and drunk over house of tequila, like screaming about Ukraine. Like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. That's the classic inspiration for West Wing. But anyway, to start this episode off, to get back into the West Wing world, we arrive back after the cliffhanger when two gunmen had downed the president, like had shot and downed somebody at the
shots were fired as we went to black on season 1, and then we picked right up from there in season 2.
Right. Exactly. And it's essentially the aftermath of what had happened. It didn't really show like the gunfight or anything. It is just the aftermath, essentially, mostly from CJ's position. She's asking right away, is the president dead? She's like been hit on I kept thinking she was concussed all episode.
Yeah.
Because it's
like the cinematography is actually pretty good in this scene. It captures the chaos of everything. Yeah, we see CJ is down, but like at first it seems like everyone is mostly okay.
They're calling reports of like, this person's okay. Is the president dead? And he's like, no, the president's not dead, but he's been shot. And
we don't even know the president is shot at first. We see him get into the car. We see what's the Secret Service's agent name?
Yeah, I don't remember his name. He just SS to me. SS guy.
No, the girl. The woman.
Oh, Gina.
Gina. Yeah. And then I think the car leaves, and then we pan back to see Josh. Shot.
Yes, on the stoop. Yeah, like Toby asks where everyone is getting. Like Josh calls for his attention, and Josh is shot on the stairs, and he falls down. With Toby calling for an ambulance. Then we cut to the hospital at night with a nurse being, kind of nonchalant about anything.
Right, we get like a little like one act play, this little like 5-minute scene of here's the
just another day at the office.
Just another day at the office. The wisecracking, hard working, hard scrabbled nurses of this Washington emergency room.
She takes the phone call from the white phone, the regular phone, and then the red phone goes off, and she hangs up the white phone and picks up the red phone to answer, yeah, this is a drill, then I can't really do it right now. I have other phone calls to get and this. And then she sees the police car, she sees the Secret Service.
And again, it does a good job just capturing the power and the chaos of like a White House.
The White House flood,
coming in. The Secret Service in like full emergency mode. Ron Butterfield is shot in the hand and carrying on with a man.
Is Ron Butterfield? Is that the Secret
Ron
Service?
Butterfield is the president's Secret Service guy.
Okay, so he's the Butterfield. Okay, so Ron Butterfinger is doing good out there, and he's gonna need a Butterfinger because
yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. The VP gets the vice president gets dragged. Do you remember the vice president's name at all? Is that like Joe or something?
John Hoynes.
Oh, John Hoynes.
John Hoynes. Yeah.
Yeah. He gets dragged out of his double NCAA meet and greet.
For those people who don't know, I have watched The West Wing many, many times, and Killian is watching The West Wing for the first time.
First time.
For those who might not be familiar with the original premise of our show.
Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that in the intro, but hey, we need to get into it. Otherwise, we're going to start talking about politics all day.
Yeah.
President has exited, and the president's dragged inside the hospital. He's got an exit wound. He's getting wheeled in for surgery. He's making jokes. He's joking about it. He's
cracking jokes. Yes. He's cracking wise.
Yeah.
Someone want to get this guy an aspirin.
Yeah.
He's gonna jump off his gurney and attack someone if he doesn't get to talk to his daughter.
Yeah. Just wisecracking. Mrs. Langingham is like telling stories like nothing's happened until they see the special report on the news. We learn the family's talking to the president. He's relatively chill. The shooter, we're told that the shooters are dead.
The shooters are dead, but there was Gina had spotted that creepy looking guy in the crowd.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember in season 1.
Signal Man.
And we see him at the start of the second episode here, but that was the creepy guy that Gina had been tracking all throughout the season 1 finale. Sort of a glowering skinhead in the crowd.
Glowering. I missed the skinhead. I missed the skinhead.
Right, which they
look at you, Tim. They'd be looking at you right away.
Oh, right. No, these guys really give my whole look a bad name. Unfortunately, this is why I always wear a hat in public.
Well, that's what these dudes do too, man.
They do.
They wear hats. That's what they do, bro. They shave their head and then they wear hats, man. It's movement. It's movement you gotta look out for.
Right, but I just do it because I lost my hair.
Right.
When I was 27, so
that's why these dudes hate the government, Tim. That's why you hate the government. Really,
I'm just mad I lost my hair.
You're just mad you lost your hair, man. Come on, man. It's accept the neoliberal establishment.
But I think it's interesting to put yourself back in the mindset of the 90s, where this was written just a few years. This was written, I think, 99 or 2000, somewhere in that range.
I think it's probably written 99. Yeah.
Yeah, this is pre 9/11. This is just a couple of years after the Oklahoma bombing, and this was who the federal government was mainly worried about. They were worried about Ted Kaczynski and Timothy McVeigh. We get a Bin Laden name drop in this episode, which I found interesting. Because then after 9/11 they switched to being worried about Muslims, and they forget pretty much entirely about right-wing extremists.
Free Leonard Peltier, by the way. Yeah, but as always, all every time. I mean, this is always one of my criticisms about neoliberals is that like always they'll always justify having like this secrets, like this fucking secret police state, as long as it's there. Like they'll always use like the white
That's not a
supremacists.
secret police state, though.
I mean, yeah,
I mean, like they weren't taking down these militias in secret. They were very publicly taking down these militias. It was all over the news.
well,
Pretty much all the time.
Fred Hampton would. I mean, there's a lot of these cases where like there's a lot of like important people who like have been gunned down, and it's like kind of approached a different way, and it's pointed at a different way, and even even Martin Luther King's family is admitted, like they know that they're pretty sure that the guy who shot, like the guy who was seen to be the white supremacist who like fired the gun who killed MLK, they don't think that that's the guy. They think that it's a setup. They think that like this is a person that the law enforcement would just like pinned it on to like have it just be out of the way so that intelligence can get away with it. Malcolm X's family is on the same thing. I mean, and then it's like
those are two completely different eras of law enforcement, and B, also two completely separate ideologies that they did handle in different ways.
That's true, but it's like they do have covert ways of like taking out ideologies that they don't agree with, that are domestic and abroad. And I'm not trying to say it's like I don't like the white supremacists, like, yeah, everyone hates them. Like, I agree, I hate them too. Like, but it's just that they're always going to be used as like that justification for the police state, even when like they're one of their main focuses that they don't talk about are leftist activists or like leftist political prisoners. Like Mumia Abu-Jabal is another one.
Yeah. But in the late 90s, the federal government's focus was very much people who looked like these two shooters.
Yeah.
We have that scene in the Situation Room. We get the Bin Laden name drop. We get talk about what the Iraqis are up to. But I find this scene interesting because
do we skip the flashback where Josh is like working for John?
Yes, right. This is where I have my eat, pray, establishment politics notice where yes, we see Josh. He is dissatisfied working for John Hoynes. Leo approaches him. There's an entire sequence, and then he goes to
you summed it up so perfectly too with that. God damn it, I'm so I wrote that whole little like that dumb little exchange at the end of like, this is what sons do for their old friends of their dads. And it's like, well, yeah, but like, like you're gonna run this like fucking like, this like
no, it's all friends, it's all ideological. Yes, we are gonna run a New England intellectual millionaire.
You're dumb, but you're not that dumb. It's like, where?
Like, no, I think we are exactly that. We are exactly that.
It's like, yeah, you double down, you corrupt fucks. Like, yes, like you are like, yeah.
Leo is fascinating. We'll talk more about him later, but I find Leo a fascinating figure.
Yeah.
In this entire thing.
Yeah, we get Josh asking Sam to be a speechwriter for him while Sam's at his law firm.
Sam is working as a very highly paid, like about to make partner at a huge law firm, helping an oil company buy a boat
or buy a bunch of boats.
No, it's it's a boat or a ship or something. Yeah.
Just some ridiculous yeah, I hate this. Yeah, I hated his plotline. It makes me kind of hate Sam more. Like
it does. Sam is a terrible person,
right? Like it's
like you can see that. Like, yeah, he was making a lot of money off of these very evil people, and then he switches to neoliberal politics
because he's trying to because they wouldn't listen to his advice on saving them money. Like, goddamn, like what a fucking idiot. Yeah. And no, also Sam says he's about to get married too.
Like, right. Well, and like it is an interesting thing. Him saying he's going to get married. Although the thing that Josh congratulates him on isn't his marriage. it's making partner that he actually gets the congratulations for.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting married, and Josh kind of just stares at him blank faced, and he says, I'm making partner, and Josh is like, oh, congratulations.
Yeah, that's these type of people. Having kids, whatever. Where's your career going? But we flash forward today. Abby's talking to the nurse. President's okay. Josh is unsure. Abby gives the news to the staff.
Abby talks to the doctor saying, you're the like 18th person in the world who knows this, but my husband has MS.
Yeah,
because he needs to know that before he's puts him under anesthesia.
Yeah. But then we get to the war room where we have Leo there. The Secretary
I want to highlight the main players in this are Leo, and then the
Secretary of Defense Nancy.
She's actually the National Security Advisor.
Okay.
And Leo and her are debating, but I think it's clear to say they are both arguing for the vice president. Like, they are trying to sway his position because the vice president is in charge.
Yeah, I would say that.
He makes the decision that we are going to follow Leo's lead. And I feel like it's important to remember that the vice president was in the room and made the decision to follow Leo's advice, just like Bartlett often does. Because later on, there's going to be a whole bunch of confusion about who is in charge, when I think there's a very simple answer that they, for some reason, ignore.
Yeah. Well, I think that, from the media's perspective, they want to ask that, and the answer was so simple when it gets to that too.
The vice president was in charge,
right? Like, it's just,
and
like, it's
he
obvious.
chose to follow Leo's advice, but Bartlett does that every fucking episode.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah, it's pretty much as you say. Like, this basically, like, the Secretary of National Security is trying to invade Iraq, and Leo's not trying to have that yet. So because George Bush,
Nancy is ready, but Leo's like, we're gonna threaten him. We're not gonna actually like fuck with it.
The message is, don't mess with us. Donna comes in to hear the president to hear the news, and hears about Josh's news. She's
right. Like, no one. I mean, I guess this is an era before everyone had cell phones, but like, come on, let Donna know before she gets to the hospital. Like,
it is the era before cell phones. That's kind of why I'm giving them this. It's you don't have the Succession episode where it's like it's over the phone and it's like so not personal. And
that's true. Although the Succession episode did that so well.
I know. Spoilers. Well, honestly, spoiler alert. Yeah, sorry, but anyway, honestly, watching this show after Succession, we were fucking spoiled. But like, cinematography is still nice. Like,
yeah.
CJ is then basically eating shit from the press briefing. The press corps is absolutely grilling her,
including a young Jane Lynch as a press reporter.
Oh, okay. 25th Amendment's brought up. Who's in charge? Is the big question, which I would think is pretty obvious. And why isn't everyone asking, like, hey, is the VP in charge? Like, I was just making sure, because it's like
he's in charge.
It's like that's pretty much why this position exists, right?
Like I get that he didn't sign a letter, but like, they're actually like, who was actually in charge? Like, no, the vice president was in charge.
Who do the people all believe he's in charge? And that's the thing I'm kind of thinking. Like, if it goes out of order, like if Joe Biden dies and it doesn't go to Kamala Harris, it'd be like we would think at that point it's a coup d'etat, right? Like, it's
but this was not a coup d'etat,
right? No, this wasn't. Like, this is. I'm just saying, under that given situation, if it's like totally given to somebody else, like, that's a problem. Like, that's a huge problem. Like,
yeah. If Kamala Harris isn't in the room, and like, I don't even know who the chief of staff is right now, but
I mean, I'm also just scared if Kamala Harris is president too. Like, I'm terrified if that's the case. Like, I'm at that point, Tim, I might just be like expedite. Like, I might just be like trying to get my passport quicker. Like, anyway, she leaves and gets badgered by Danny. About the same thing, and she gives him the same answer. It's like she gives the whole list of like the vice president. This.
Dumb. But like, the vice president was in charge, and it's fucking stupid that she doesn't say that.
Right. Like, I don't know, and it's like that's kind of why I'm thinking that she's concussed the whole time, because she's like talking slower. It's like, and I just keep thinking, it's like, it kind of seems like she got like a concussion, and like she just didn't get treated for it. It just seems like she just like has a head injury. Like,
Yeah.
that's what how I'm viewing this too. And everyone keeps like focusing like, oh, it's your neck. You scratched your neck. Toby's like, yeah, you messed your neck. It's like, yeah, my necklace, it's gone. I think
Yeah, and that leads to like a weird moment with Sam later on.
Yeah.
Another note I had is it's the middle of the fucking night and they pretend like the entire world is watching, but I'm like, who is watching cable news in the middle? Like, all of this kind of plays out in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I mean, that's the thing. This is pre 9/11, and on 9/11, that was in the morning.
It was.
And that was like a day of terror, basically.
Yes.
Like that was like,
oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah. It's a very different type of experience. So like before all that type of thing happens, it's like, oh, this happened in the dead of night in the dark there. But honestly, the last presidential assassination attempt before this was Reagan. So
yes,
that's
and that also happened during the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
But I think that also happened before like CNN was a thing, or right when CNN was
like, I think probably on the cusp of it. Like, yeah, that I don't know. That was Reagan's second term, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
I know CNN was the thing by first Desert Storm. I'm not sure if CNN was a thing back then.
Anyway, CJ is asking Toby about like, hey, I'm worried about getting this question about like
the tent.
About the tent, about like the president being in open air.
Another major blunder that Toby probably should be fired for.
Yeah.
As we come to find out. But yeah, there's a whole thing where like the Secret Service is supposed to build a tent around the president as he exits buildings. And they just don't do that anymore for some reason.
But yeah, she said, yes. And then we get back to Nancy pressuring to go to DEFCON 4. She's pressuring Leo in his office to go to DEFCON 4. President didn't draft a notice of his transfer of power on a piece of paper. Yeah, we just were talking about the Secretary of Defense said that she will be the principal asset according to this national security law in like 1947. It's like during the fucking start, the horrible decisions made during like the start of the nuclear age, where the Secretary of Defense is going to be his principal assistant, which Toby's like, what the hell does that mean?
Right. No, like our laws are terribly written, and I think that's what Sorkin was trying to highlight here.
Especially in like, well, a lot of the time they are, especially when they're really hastily written to like just seize power, like during the nuclear age, like.
Yeah. So before this episode ends, do we go to Toby at that meeting?
Yeah, no, we go back to a flat. We go to a oh fuck. No, sorry, we're getting there. Ginger shows up for Toby. She hugs him. We get a flashback to Toby in a bar, working for
day drinking.
Yeah,
relatable.
day drinking. Yeah, day drinking. Well, yeah, I wish.
Hashtag relatable.
Working for Bartlett. He's talking to some strange woman. He's saying he's got a great record as a political assistant.
He's never won a single election, but he's fucking great at it.
Yeah. Which honestly, I was gonna say, like, I was thinking about this, and it is totally true. It's like, yeah, honestly, like having Trump's record of like one presidential election won, one lost. That's like astonishing. Like that's a way better record than most people.
No, that's true.
Like
at this point, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's unfortunate too, but like, yeah, those terrible ones just tend to last, especially those ones that speak his mind, like good old Topster here. But yeah, he's about to get fired. He doesn't care. He's drinking the day away before he goes in to get fired, as he expects.
And then we see Bartlett, the brave and the bold. He's not going to back down from his decision to screw over dairy farmers to make sure milk stays cheap.
Right in that what looks like a VFW hall.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is literally a VFW hall.
With free chicken, basically defending his policies, telling the guys like, yes, I'd fuck you, and if you don't like it, you can vote for somebody else. And I looked at that there and I said, you guys are stealing Joe Biden's campaign promises. All right. Like that's exactly what that motherfucker was going for right away. Is that
yeah?
Man,
I've been
watching
this scene. I was always reminded of my grandpa, who, he was not the kind of guy you think would vote Democrat, because he was a fucking mean old racist who lived in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But he always did vote Democrat just because in the 40s or in the 30s, the Democratic Party like saved his family from starvation with the agricultural safety net and stuff like that. And so he remained a loyal Democratic voter his entire life.
See, that's
even while railing against all of their policies.
Because of the economic basis of something that happened years ago.
Decades earlier, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's an amazing story, Tim. That really is. But it's like that at least gives me some hope where it's like, well, yeah, maybe if there is changes of like where you can get a political like a party to actually do something and actually like make an economic cause that actually benefits and saves people and that actually brings on loyalty. Like, yeah, Tim, that's what I'm all about. That's what I'm like all fucking about. But even to the point of like, yeah, he still voted Democrat even when he hates the right, like even like through the hippie years, even through the and Tim, we do have to go over eventually a succession list of the presidential losers of hippie George.
Yeah, you're right. We need to learn that song.
We need to learn that. Yeah. Because I know he goes through like all of them, and it goes back to like up to the fort.
Yeah, he does it in like reverse order from memory in his 80s.
Yeah,
what a mensch Logan Roy was.
Yeah, but he's unafraid to fuck the farmers, and like Josh has his kind of like I was at look at this face of like, yeah, he looks like he thinks he sucks. Like I would think he sucks. Like like I'd be like, oh, this schmuck who's like not willing to like stand up for like.
Well, no, I think Josh was just like Hoynes is a Hoynes we saw was like a spineless little twat who was afraid to like say anything about Social Security.
Yeah, anything at all. But I saw that and it was like, oh, okay, well, like maybe he's the guy. Maybe he's Josh is looking for that candidate to believe in. Yeah, eat, pray, neoliberal.
Yeah.
We flash forward to Bartlett in the future. He's in the hospital getting his clothes on from his family. He's doing okay. We flash forward back and to the campaign team arguing the strategy for the Democratic nomination. And they're talking about what states they have to get to like kind of like secure so they can run the board. And they're just
then Leo steps in. Like this is the scene where Leo steps in and fires everyone except Toby. I have my note of like the real main character of the show drops the hammer.
Yeah.
and then we get the scene where this is the scene he fires everyone except Toby, and then him and Bartlett are walking away from the event. And Bartlett is like, Leo, why are you doing this? You're a bigger deal in the party than I am. You'd be national chairman for the guaranteed nominee. And then Leo goes on a speech, the same type of speech that you and I go on.
Yeah.
All the time. And this is Aaron Sorkin writing this. Of like, I am so tired of voting for the lesser of who cares. I am tired of feeling like I don't have a choice. They say a real good man can't be president. I don't believe that. And it's like, Aaron, you're a fucking neoliberal twit. And like like Clinton was not a good man. Like Clinton was not like, and Jed Bartlett is not a good man, I don't think. Like,
I mean, the things that Bill Clinton like got away with were things that H.W. Bush wanted to get away with.
Right, exactly. Like NAFTA was Reagan and Bush's like wet dream, but because Clinton like was a moderate on some issues, he was able to completely fuck the entire working class base of this entire country without pretty much any resistance at all.
In 2012, I voted for Obama over Mitt Romney, and I still got Romney Care. I still got it. Like what was the Romney plan going to be? Like, was it just going to be like nothing? Is it going to be like what this is today? Like, damn. Whew. But yeah,
indeed.
It is hoofed indeed. But then he mentions he's like, well, you come from and then Jed brings up like, oh, well, I won all these things without you.
Right, and then we find out like, no, oh yeah, of course this guy is like basically the Kennedys of New Hampshire. Like, he's rich, he's established in party politics in his home state. He's Kennedys except with like the cereals filed off.
Yeah.
Or like the Roosevelts in New York, or
yeah. Like any of those like untouchable families, like the DuPonts, if they decided to like step down off of their lives and like get into politics, or the Carnegies just got like decided to step down from their hoofs of power and decided to get into politics. But I think we pretty much and then like I think that's one of those moments.
I think we close in with Bartlett. Is this where we close with Bartlett watching Josh in the hospital saying like, look what happened, or something like that, or
something like that. I kind of like blurred out the ends at the beginning of these episodes because it's like,
well, the beginning of the next episode I know is our third skinhead is in a cafe, is in a like a shitty little diner. He steps out to smoke a cigarette. He throws his cigarette butt away, and for that littering, the full force of the federal government comes down on him.
Absolute police porn, like absolutely, because it is seriously like it looks like a Don't Litter commercial where it's like or don't smoke.
No, it really
commercial.
is. Like anybody who didn't know what was going on would feel like this is like the biggest overreaction to littering.
Like, right? You let that nigga go now. Like, get him too.
Get him. Did you know Don't Mess with Texas was an anti-littering slogan?
Originally? I did not know that.
The phrase "Don't mess with Texas" was first introduced in like the early '80s as an anti-littering slogan.
Well, hey, you know, hey, the
Fun
more you
facts.
know, more you know, like, because I thought "Don't Mess with Texas" like originally was coming from the state's founding, where they said
I always thought that too, and then I was listening to a weird podcast
where it's like let's use that race as part of our history, where we just like we will abstain from your laws.
Well, yeah, no. If you go watch the original commercial, it's like a bunch of like Dallas Cowboy players being like, "Don't mess with Texas, don't litter."
And that's why they still suck. I mean, it's like much like the Bears after they did the Super Bowl shuffle. That's why your football team sucks. Yes. I mean, how long are the Packers going to pay for like Aaron Rodgers shit? I mean,
I mean, we don't have time to get into the Packers right now.
Working Wing Politics, the Packers coming this fall. Yeah, we go to episode 2 with Signalman's been found. Gets his like head stomped in for throwing out the cigarette, and then they find out he was the Signalman. CJ's talking to the press. Signal guy's been found. Really, no other info. Doesn't give any description of the person. President is okay. Josh is still critical. We painted the staff in the ICU. CJ calls up Sam about Nancy's letter for the transfer of power. That little whole dumb thing that we already.
Well,
the whole thing we quashed.
The vice president wasn't clearly in power.
Yeah. Asking about she asked Sam and Toby about the tent and the open air question over the president. Sam says let's take care of that. We flash back to Sam at the firm in a scene that really pisses me off and makes me hate him more, where he's suggesting these to like right before they're about to steal this deal, like in a moment that makes Saul Goodman look like he's an honest actor here. Like he fucking like not even Saul would pull off something like that. He'd be way smarter than this.
The worst part of it is the self-satisfied smirk on Sam's face as he does all of this. He's like, I'm a good person now.
Because you're saving these crooks money. You're saving these crooks. You're selling all this shit, like your shit to like you're like, and not only that, you're blowing up the deal like in front of your peers, not taking it behind the back of it. You're doing it in front of them to seem like a good person. It's like, bro, are you 12? Like, are you 12 years old? We're a firm here trying to get shit done. Like we thought you were like a lawyer yesterday. Like what happened? You
were a reasonable person yesterday. Well, and then the scene ends with Josh arriving like dripping wet in the rain. It's like, this is literally a scene out of like a fucking romantic comedy.
It was so weird. It was so weird.
He found you. He was dripping wet, but he came and found you.
And he said, look at me. Well, and it's we kind of skipped ahead because it's like a second scene where that happens. Because like that's after we cut to Josh in the rain. And Josh in the rain, like trying to get to New Hampshire, be like, I just met this guy. You think great. I gotta get out there, man. I gotta get out there. Just he's got that political fervor about him. But then like he runs up to Sam's office. Like when Sam's pulling the same like, hey guys, I'm offering you one more chance. You can buy these South Korean chips. They're way better. You guys really appreciate it. I'm just telling you. Buy better ships, like screw our deal, like, and plus we'll pay it out of our own pocket.
Yeah, pass the cost on to me. Want 5 cents at the
you want $5? Here's $5 right here. It's like, yeah, you make Saul Goodman look like an honest. Like I would rather have Saul in the room, like fighting against me, like every step of the way, than like just even looking at you or having you on my side. Yeah. Well, anyway. Yep. Distracting Sam to New Hampshire. Yeah, present day. We cut to present day, and Sam's asking Sam who pulled her down. To which,
we find out Sam saved CJ's life, pulling her down. He stole her necklace
and didn't give it back to her. And didn't give it back to her at all. And he's like, yeah, but she's just like, hey, I didn't remember until like I watched the morning shows, and I remembered that you pushed me down and took it. And then Sam's like, oh, I didn't want you to like have any like unforeseen gratitude or anything like that. It's like, what the fuck are you up to? You like Sorkinson creepy fuck.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's very weird, like white knighty type of shit.
Yes, like it's like, what's your real intention here, sir? What's your real, sir? Not as all as it seems right now.
And there's like shit behind the scenes of this show too, where what's his name? Guy who plays Sam. Why am I blanking on this?
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe was the biggest star of this cast going into the show, besides Martin Sheen, who was like supposed to be like a guest actor. But like the show was originally pitched to him, Rob Lowe, as like, you're going to be like sort of the centerpiece of this show. And obviously that's like not the way it ended up being. But like you can see that they were still trying to honor that commitment to him with like certain like, no, you're the golden boy, you're the, action hero, you're the
It's a different time in this back then too, because like Rob Lowe was like the bad guy in Tommy Boy too. I remember that.
Yeah.
You know what's really weird? That's really fucked up. I've never seen like Richard. I don't remember Richard Schiff in anything else, but I remembered he was like the lawyer who tries to take away the kid in I Am Sam. And I'm thinking like, yeah, this was a different time. Like he's a very different time. Yeah, but Rob Lowe was definitely like, he was definitely kind of like a Brandon Fraser of that time.
Yes, exactly. Like, very much so, like a Brandon Fraser. But they were like, don't worry, you're gonna be the action hero, golden boy, rom-com lead of this show. Which is like you see that in season 1 with this whole Lori storyline. Also, Killian, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a main character from this show in season 1 who is no longer on this show. She's not in either of these episodes. We don't get her backstory.
Oh yeah.
Where the fuck is Mandy?
Where is Mandy?
Mandy is just gone, and I'll let you know, we are never gonna fucking hear or see anything about her ever again. She is gone. Apparently, she didn't really mesh like with the cast. She didn't really vibe with Sorkin. She didn't like test well.
They didn't give her much to do.
No, they did not. And they no longer have to worry about that because she is gone, never to be heard from again. Donna joins the main cast so that they can have like one female main or a second female main cast member, but
yeah, instead of writing that episode for her, they need to write that like Mr. Smith from Ohio, like that fucking episode, like where like Toby Jackson about a guy who was never elected into his office and like who has to make a decision based off of like the position his wife had who died or is in the hospital or some shit like that. Like fucking give me a break. Give me a break, guys. Could have run some of them for Mandy. I liked Mandy, all right?
Oh yeah, Mandy was your favorite character from season 1, and every time you would mention that, I was like, yeah, sorry, bud. Mandy
Yeah,
is
well,
fine.
yeah, sure. Well,
Because I think she was like the farthest left of like anybody in the main cast. One could argue.
surprisingly,
Like her, maybe Toby, but like, yeah,
yeah,
she's gone.
maybe Toby in some instances. Yeah, for sure. Present hospital flashback. Oh no, yeah, we get doc. Yeah, so Danny's also asking the same dumb question we already answered. Who's in charge? Fucking CJ's like, I'm working on it. Leave me the fuck alone. Get a flashback to CJ getting an early call at 6 a.m. in LA. She has to go to her fucking PR firm and go get yelled at by one of her clients who's like,
and she is rightfully fired because CJ is fucking terrible at her job.
Yeah, tells him that your movies suck.
Right. Well, it's like, okay, she doesn't know anything about the Hollywood scene. She doesn't know how to like kiss ass or schmooze. So like,
yeah, it's not a position for her.
Yeah, like what the fuck is she doing with this job in the first place?
Which, granted, I would think that a PR firm would need a person to like actually tell them that like, yeah, your movies suck, but like schmooze them to like let them receive have them receive the message of like, yes, your movies suck. We need to find a way to like have them like made to look better. But none of that for CJ. But she gets totally fucking called out, fired. She gets a cab back to her pool because she gets a cab back to her house because she doesn't have her contacts. She left so early. Toby is waiting for her at the pool, asks for her help. She falls in the pool because she doesn't have her contacts. And all wet. Like Toby kind of like mocks her a little bit. And
it's a weirdly like the shot of her getting out of the pool is weird. Like,
yeah, it's like the whole time I saw this, I was wondering like why is this happening? And I realized I'm spoiled by Succession. Like Succession like had a reason for like every fucking thing it did. And then I go into this thing and it's like, oh, she done fell in the pool. Why? Because we wanted to see her. We wanted to see like we wanted to fill up
Alice
some
and Danny in a clingy wet dress.
Right. Right.
It's so weird.
Where she tells Toby to like
she tells Toby to avert her. Yeah, she tells Toby to avert her eyes.
And the camera's right on her.
Remains right fixed on her, which is it's weird.
It's like,
it feels like a violent. Like maybe that's just my like soy boy woke like sensibilities, but like
it's just
it feels weird.
It's not. Well, here's the thing. Like I appreciate like scenes like some good looking people, but it's just like the context of how this is, where it's like this man showed up at her house unannounced, like is
just
in her house
in her backyard. Yeah,
right. Like it's like I'd kind of be like, what? And then I fall in the pool and they don't help me up, and I'm like, okay, don't look at me. If you're not gonna fucking help me get out of the fucking pool, like when like I'm surprised like you were fucking here, like. Like it's like what the fuck?
I mean, there have been times where like I've come back to my house and like you or James will just be like waiting there, but like, hey, you guys are like some of my best friends, and I'm not like a young woman living by myself in LA. Like there is some differences there.
Yeah. And even if I did drop into my friends in LA, like my single women friends in LA, I would not drop by unannounced waiting in their backyard.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Not at all. But after that weird little exchange, he offers her the press secretary position, and she doesn't know if she's like is unsure if she can do it, and he's like, you're the person for it, which of course they're gonna say yes.
We find out that she's done a lot of work with Emily's List, which they make fun of the name Emily's List, but they are like a hugely important national organization.
Yeah. Come back to the president of the hospital. Charlie comes in after being asked in. They reveal the man in custody is associated with white supremacy organizations.
And Charlie was the target.
Yes. Then we leave with the president saying we don't know what the injury count is yet. Then cut to Leo talking to his secretary, and she is mentioning to Leo that I can sign the president's name if you need me to. To which Leo is rightfully extremely offended, saying, "What the fuck are you doing practicing the president's name?" And she's like, "It's for fun. Like, it's for fun."
Like, and he's like, "That's a coup d'état. You'd be in jail." And I'm like, "Well, maybe that remains to be seen about whether or not you actually go to jail for a coup d'état attempt in this country."
Well, I mean, hey, the guy that shot Reagan, he was like an heir of an oil baron.
Yeah, no, that was me making the Trump joke. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how that situation plays out.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't think anything's gonna come. I really don't think anything's gonna come out of that. But
that's what I'm saying. Leo might be surprised about how coup d'états are actually handled in this country.
CJ asks who made her morning shows. Oh yes, CJ asked Leo like why she has to do the morning shows, and he said that it's a bad idea, it's inappropriate. Josh,
Josh,
she
says it's inappropriate to do it while Josh is like laying dying.
So he says that Sam's gonna go, and then Leo says he's gonna take care of Danny because he's harboring her about those fucking stupid questions that he knows the answer to already. Toby brings up the open air question, and that's going to get taken care of. Well, I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, he's going to go try to talk to Ron Butterfield to convince him to throw Toby under the
Butterfinger. Good. Flashback to the president's campaign, getting through the they're having like a, now that the staff is all established, the West Wing staff is established in the past, talking during the Democratic nomination process. They're basically making the battle plan of like what states they need to take so they can run the gambit.
Right. Well, they're talking to their fucking asshole of a candidate who's just like brittle and brusque about his own failings, and then like seems to have a hard time taking advice from this like crack team he's assembled.
Yeah.
But they lay out a good campaign strategy of like you're gonna win New Hampshire, so we can get a head start in South Carolina. We can undercut the guy in front of you and get his money, and then bada bing, bada boom, you're gonna win.
Right. They map out a decent plan. And
but then we go back to romantic comedy territory where we meet Donna, who is a college dropout who's had like 6 majors in 2 years and just broke up with her boyfriend and is eat, pray, establishment politicking this Bartlett campaign office.
How sweet. Aw.
But she's also kind of like single white femaling Josh, where she just like went into his office and started answering his phone.
Hillary. Yeah. Hillary's like, this is how Chelsea's gonna be. Like, I don't know. Fucking Christ. Yeah, but yeah, she overstates everything. Like when she says she's dropped out of college, it's like, when she had a college degree, she's a little bit overstated.
Right. I have a note here of like, all right, so the way the writing process, like there was a writing staff for this show, but Aaron wrote like all the scripts himself. So I feel like the premise of this episode was he told his room, all right, I know all of you guys have your like fucking like rom-com movie scripts. Just boil down the premise of your like rom-com protagonists and send them to me, and I will assemble the backstory of this political campaign.
Oh, throwing him the bone. Yeah, Jesus Christ. But yeah, we use that to establish the chemistry of Josh and Donna. We cut back to Sam did good in the morning shows. CJ asks, CJ has that scene where she couldn't remember what happened. She says that she couldn't remember what happened until she watched Josh in the morning shows, until she saw Sam on the morning shows. I'm sorry. And to which Sam reveals that, yes, I was the guy who pulled you down, and I have your necklace. Here's it back. I'm an asshole. Ha ha ha. Here's me smirking. I don't want you to think I'm a savior. Blah 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 blah. Shit.
And then somewhere in here, we get an absolutely brutal shot of them doing surgery on Josh, which feels like totally out of place for what the show is, where you like see his chest like splayed open. And like this shot just made me remember that one of the main executive producers of the show, basically like the kind of Aaron Sorkin's boss, the like network liaison, was John Wells, who was also the showrunner on ER.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
This is a very ER shot here in the West Wing.
Yeah, this whole episode's got like ER vibes to it. And ER was a big fan of like making things really chaotic for a second to like for dramatic effect and just like writing writing tools basically.
Yeah.
Get back to see. Oh no, sorry. We have Toby talking to Butterfinger about the open air question, to which Butterfinger is saying the very Secret Service line of "We don't comment on procedure."
Right. But I feel like in the real world, Toby probably would just be fired for this.
Yeah, I'd
like,
say they
like irregardless of what the Secret Service says, I feel
because
Toby would just be fired.
Toby reveals that it's like, well, I want to take the blame for it because like it was my
because it was his fault.
Yeah.
He thought it was bad optics to have the president exit buildings safely, so they decided they weren't going to do that. And honestly, Ron Butterfield should also be fired for going along with this. Probably both Toby and Ron Butterfield should lose their job.
Here's the thing: what Ron Butterfield was saying too is it's like, well, no, we're not like. I think that their procedure, Secret Service, is to like, if they're told like you have to like protect the president under these conditions, they have to do that. I think that's what he was saying.
Right, but I'm saying that's a stupid, shitty policy.
It is. Tim, I would admit it. If the agency is up to them, that's fine. But they probably have reasons for it. Like, and I would say like some of them are somewhat reasonable because you never. If it's up to the person in the Secret Service of like how to protect the president exactly, and they have a particular bias or something, it's a different story. I mean, there's some reasonable procedure. I mean, the responsibility is not on him to make that choice and just to follow orders. And
it's not, but I still think in the real world, Toby would lose his job and go on to make more money as like a lawyer somewhere.
For sure.
And Ron Butterfield would lose his job and go on to start a private security agency and make way more money that he's making now. Like, that's just how these things actually go in the real world.
Yeah, I would say more probably he would probably quit. I don't think he'd be fired though. I think he'd
not like publicly, but like
maybe
half the time when you hear people are like resigning, it's not really a resignation.
Yeah, well, it's that to them it's an early retirement. But but an actual fun, good, I have money retirement, like.
Right, or like, yeah, I'm serious. Like in Ron Butterfield's case, it would be like, yeah, I'm opening my own private security service, and I'm making 10 times what I was as a government employee.
Right.
That's kind of how it works in the real world.
Right. And then, then we cut to like a press briefing where CJ is taking shit from the press again, and Leo takes Danny off her ass, and they go back and look at her, and then CJ like takes the focus. I think she takes it off of like the identity. There's like like what the shooter's associated with, and they just puts the focus on guns.
Yeah,
and I think, and then Danny just like has that little look of like, she's good, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's really fucking dumb, like the whole fucking thing.
I mean, I don't want to get into an argument about gun control again, but I have always liked this little monologue.
You mean like, the deflecting? Yeah, it's great. It's great actually to keep it off of a real issue by like pushing on some bullshit that they're never going to change. Like, I love, it's cute. It's fucking cute. It's awesome.
I'm not trying to start an argument, but
go and disarm people without guns, Tim, and good luck with that. Good luck. I'm just going to say. Moving on, we then have a flashback. Leo DeBreen saying back to the hospital. Flashback to election night in the Illinois primary, and things are looking good so far. Josh is saying that his dad is like going through a round of chemo, and this news is going to make him feel just great. Abby, but also Josh is still kind of mad at his asshole of a candidate for being, a prickly little cactus that he is, that northeastern cactus.
Yeah, he's mad that back in the original like VFW scene, Bartlett was mad that they didn't want him using John Hoynes' name. And then he's mad that in the speech Sam wrote, they once again have him calling John Hoynes his opponent instead of saying his name, which is a big sticking point for Bartlett for some reason. And he's all pissed off about that. And
he wants us to call him by his name.
Yeah, he wants to say John Hoynes instead of my opponent or the other guy.
I'm going to stand with Bartlett on that. I'd say that same thing. It's like, no, I'm not going to say my opponent. I'm going to say like the guy's fucking name. Like that's who he is. my opponent.
That's true. It's not like Voldemort or anything where like by saying the name you give it power or anything like that.
But I understand the sentiment as a writer of him trying to say like, well, yeah, he's getting pissed over nitpicky things, which
Yes.
I would say like, yeah, that's also fine. Because if I was the candidate, all I'd say is like, okay, I'll call my opponent. I'm not gonna fucking do that. Like,
yeah, exactly. You can just change that in the moment. But,
I'm sure Trump's done it like millions of times. Like,
But Aaron Sorkin lives in a world where like, well, I mean, so that's another thing about like, I also just like as a comparison to Succession, it's actually kind of a thing of like people have total freedom to improvise lines in Succession.
Oh yeah,
where
made a lot of things happen.
There are huge differences between like what the scripts there are multiple compilations of like here's the actual like script for the scene and here's what they said, and there are major differences. On a Sorkin project, and especially The West Wing, there was zero tolerance for any kind of improv from the actors. They had to read exactly the words on the page, no deviation whatsoever. So I feel like
we
that's
are
the
storytellers, and we are the dreamers of the dreams.
Exactly.
By the way, everyone, support the writer's strike still. I mean,
yes.
Granted, we are using this to make fun of a writer here, but still like pay the writers today are way better than Aaron Sorkinson. Everyone is. Like, sorry.
You always call him Aaron Sorkinson. It's Aaron Sorkin.
Whatever.
He is not the son of Sorkin.
Not the son of Sorkin.
He is the Sorkin.
He is the original Sorkin. The Sorkin son. Coming this spring. Okay. Yeah, moving on. Josh is still annoyed about it. Yeah, Abby then charms him and says, like, my husband's an asshole. You can kick me.
All right, there's some fucking chemistry.
Oh God, I'm glad you noticed it because
Abby and Josh
when she said you can come and kick me, I was thinking like,
oh my goodness, Mrs. Bartlett.
Like, right, that's like when fucking like Sid in Succession like told Tom, I'll eat your sausage, Tom. Where I'm like, exactly. Okay, so it's like
that, huh?
But granted, it's like I'm also giving like Aaron Sorkin like far more credit than he deserves because it's like no fucking way. Yeah, those actors are probably like improvising.
Those have great chemistry
because
they're not improvising the words, but I think they just have like that. I mean, I think it's also just a testament to Stockard Channing and her like steering charisma on screen. But yeah.
Well, I do notice that anyway, acting. If your director gives you nothing, you're trying to come up with something with another character, you could always do like a weird chemistry thing. You could always do like a weird, like, I want to fuck you, but like, are we? Will we?
Are we?
Are we? Well, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like, it's that. Yeah, you flirt with that, and that's what makes it more interesting. Like, I definitely see that all the time when actors are like, I don't have direction and I don't know what to do with the scene. The scene sucks. Yeah, and then the Illinois primary is won, and Josh gets the news right during the news that your father died, and yeah, then it kills the party for him right there, and we cut to him at the airport, which I also have to say, horrible timing with that to have those like two things like lined up of like Illinois won and Josh, yes, yeah, I just came in to tell you that thing. Bad timing, I know. I should have said you had a moment for a second. But we cut to Josh at the airport sitting there alone. And then we see, it reminds me of The Terminal where it's like those scenes where you see Tom Hanks sitting there like all alone, looks so quiet. Then you see one Secret Service, two Secret Service.
Yeah.
And you have a Jed Bartlett coming around saying,
do candidates get I thought Secret Service protection came in once you had secured the nomination, which Bartlett hasn't yet.
I would think, because I remember during all the nomination processes in like 2016 and 2020, I think they all had Secret Service.
That makes sense. And Bartlett is the former governor of New Hampshire as well, so it's possible he had security from that as well.
Right. And it's like I also believe it's like people can have private security and stuff. It's like I would think Robert F. Kennedy would have private security considering how his dad died. I would think, but I mean, I'm not sure if Marianne Williamson has the same level of security if they're paying it for herself.
I don't think so. I think if anyone's paying for her security, it'd be her victims.
Her victims. Tim thinks that like Marianne Williamson has got them all locked up in a basement and she's controlling them with crystals.
No, I mean I think she's just your bog standard fucking new age con woman. That's all.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. RFK ain't really, he's not really far off from that at all either.
No.
Anyway, Josh at the airport approached by Governor Jeb. Jed apologizes and says he's been a lousy boss and he's been a lousy candidate, and doesn't try to get him to stay and stay with him. He offers to go on the plane with him.
Right.
And say, you need this. And to which Josh is saying, fuck me. You have a campaign to win. Go win it. California, man. California, baby.
Well, and this is a different era of American aviation. This is pre 9/11 global aviation, where you can just walk right up to the gates without a ticket. You can just kind of wander around the entire airport.
Final boarding's called twice. Called twice, and people are like, "Yeah, that's your flight. That's your flight." And it's like, "Yeah, that's not. That ain't happening now." After that first one, if you're not in line, you ain't getting on. Son.
Right. Well, and Jet would never have even been able to approach that far without buying a ticket to somewhere.
No.
At this point.
No. What the fuck you doing? Yeah. Offers to come. Josh takes his flight. Jed tells Leo he's ready to make his acceptance speech during prime time.
And then you hear him. Yeah, you hear in the end, as the crowd, you hear audio from his what I assume is his national convention acceptance speech.
That's what I'm assuming too. Far in the future.
What began as the dream of farmers and in Concord. Blah, 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 blah. I am proud to accept.
Yeah. Eat, pray.
Rousing.
How I fell in love with neoliberalism
and
learned how to stop worrying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Josh wakes up. While Josh wakes up in the present from surgery, they're gonna have a recovery episode, probably, I imagine, for a couple episodes, and we're gonna be back to Old West Wing. Minus Mandy. But yeah, that's the two-parter of the whodunit of the gunmen, of a little go back to how the staff came together, which, like I said, it's weird as fuck that it's because and you've mentioned it does happen once in a while, but I would argue it probably only happens with a person or two. It's definitely not the whole staff. I don't think that your speechwriter on the campaign trail. I mean, maybe your speechwriter on the campaign trail could be your speechwriter while you serve the presidency. I can see that, especially in the past. But something like CJ's position, I was kind of wondering, well, would she really be the most experienced for the White House press?
CJ would not still be in her job at this point.
No,
because the average length of office for a press secretary is a year and a half.
Right,
one of the most stressful jobs in the world.
Right. That all it is eating shit. Especially,
right. Well, and it's like Jay Carney was Obama's first press secretary, and he stayed in office for a year and a half, and then he became a fucking VP of public relations for Amazon, making, I'm sure, at least 20 times more than he was as press secretary.
Yep, because he's got the prestige at that point. He'll cover up a lot of shit, yeah. But yeah, CJ would be out of there. Toby would have been fired so many fucking times. Toby wouldn't have been hired.
Right, because in season 1, Toby had that entire insider trading scandal. And then between that and this whole getting the president shot, he probably should have been fired multiple times at this point.
Yeah. He would have been ultra done. I mean, because even in the first place of when Leo fires all of Bartlett's staff, he leaves on the wasted guy, the guy who stayed drunk. It's I'd already be what the fuck? What about his instincts? He doesn't even like this campaign. What the fuck is wrong with you? You didn't even keep on anyone I liked. So I mean, and that's the thing. I don't even know how. I'm pretty confused with still why Bartlett. I guess Bartlett just likes Leo as a person. He likes a person to kind of spar with a lot. But it's like, yeah, obviously, if you have political goals and if you're viewing this guy as an obstacle of it, why would you keep working with him? But I guess
because they have the dream of free trade in their hearts, and
they have of spreading the democracy across, not only across all of South America, but across the globe.
Yes, exactly. McDonald's not just in Rio, but in Beijing too.
Not in Russia right now, but we'll get back there. They'll get back there. They'll get back. Jesus Christ. They are building. They are currently building McDonald's in Ukraine that you can pay for with cryptocurrency, which they are establishing. No problem at all, though. Like, wait, hey.
So I'm trying to figure out what episodes we should talk about next time. I want to talk about the midterms. And then we can probably skip to the lame duck Congress. So we'll do next week maybe episode 3 and then episode 6.
Oh, we're gonna do 2 at a time?
Yeah, let's do 2 at a time.
Okay.
There's a lot of show to get through.
Yeah, it is a full 22 episodes, and they do.
A lot of them are meaningless.
Right. Well, I mean, I was just even kind of running through this. It's like there's so much depth within a Succession script. It's like,
right, exactly. Like we talked about 2 episodes of the show and had found less to talk about than we would in like a typical like 1 episode of Succession. So.
And just from simple moments where it's like, okay, well, CJ falls in the pool, and now we're spoiled audience, and we're asking, but why?
Well, why? What's up with
Why pool? Why get her? Because you get out of the dress and you see her boobies. It's like, oh, but why? Why? I want to see the depth of this girl's brother saying that, like, oh, you don't get to do, daddy doesn't want to fuck you because you do the me fuck me daddy dance. Now you're mad because daddy want to fuck me, and we're going, that's brilliant writing. Brilliant writing. Which it is. Like, I hate to say it, where it's like, if you introduce some parts of Succession to some people, they'll just be like, this is brilliant writing. Like, this is just like disgusting shit right now. And then you're like, oh no, but you gotta watch it though. It's like great writing though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll come back to there, and we'll kind of pepper in news here and there. We peppered in the news a little bit today. But
I expect by next week we will probably know the state of the financial aid decision in the Supreme Court.
Oh, fuck, I'll hedge my bets right now.
There was actually so one of the big questions the Supreme Court asked about during the oral arguments for this financial aid case was, do you guys even have standing to bring this case? And today, or yesterday, as we record this, in a very similar case from Texas about a Native American Child Protection Act, the Supreme Court found that Texas did not have standing to bring the case. So that's maybe a little bit of optimism that they might just throw the entire case out.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm hedging my bets and betting that these people they're gonna make the repayments happen. I'm betting.
Well, repayments are definitely going to happen, but is the forgiveness going to happen as well?
No. I don't think the forgiveness is happening at all.
You might be right. You might still very well be right, but we shall see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not optimistic for it. this libertarian fucking.
Well, the decision today rejecting the Texas standing was written by Amy Conway Barrett. So, there are conservatives on the bench who are skeptical about the whole states having standing thing. Well, we'll see.
Well, we'll see about it. Like I think they're gonna take on the whole aspect of like, you signed the loan, it's your responsibility. So yeah, let's do that. All right, folks. I think that'll do it for us. But until next time, folks, remember, keep on working.
Keep on working. We never have this timed out, right?
It never is.
We're fucking, as Bartley would say, it's amateur hour.
Back on my feet, that is, if you even care.
Yeah.